is my own concept of myself. And we need to take all of this energy that we use trying to solve a problem in knowing the divine self.
They said the first franchise opened in 1952. So he was 71 years old. And why can't you do that? Do something. 71. But here's it. Before he got to that point, he was doing other things. Do you think that he thought he was going to have a Kentucky Fried Chicken franchise? He just was serving. He just decided, this is how ideas work. He decided to have a filling station, which is a gas station, and serve food. And he used recipes from his childhood that he learned and was serving that. It morphed into the franchise after many years. So I said 37, 52 was when the first franchise opened up. And that's how all ideas work. It starts somewhere and then it ends up this big idea. But it started off with a little idea, bunch of little ideas put together. That's why I said there is no excuses, because most people, when they want to do something, they think about, I want to be where Kentucky Fried Chicken is today. Well, if you want to be where Kentucky Fried Chicken is today, you have to put in some time and effort and some years, because that's what it took to get there. Why you guys are failing, most people are failing, they want to create the whole outline of what they want to say before they even present that they're going to teach it to the world. They do it all, take them months, whatever. But see, when I do it this way, and then I set a date on it, I got to get it together. I got to put everything aside, put it and get it and teach it. Now, here's the thing. I already have 85% of the information because I've been practicing it through other people, helping people with the child support. When I did this seminar, I probably helped over 100 people successfully with child support all over this, throughout the country. And if you get that webinar, you'll see me talking about using your religious freedoms in there. Now I'm a lot more emphasis on religious protections. See, if I know myself, see, this is what you have to do. You have to know who you are, how you operate, and work with that. And say, well, if I'm a person who doesn't hold myself accountable, then I know I'm not going to do this. So you got to do things where you know you'll feel uncomfortable if you don't do it. See, I make myself uncomfortable that I got to get this done. Now I'm getting paid to be uncomfortable. That gym right there I just gave you is probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm so successful at what I do. That right there, that one technique I gave you is it. You have to go through something to accomplish something. Say it again. You have to go through something to accomplish something. Unfortunately, a lot of people are not willing to go through something to accomplish something. It's too hard. That's too much. I hear people say it all the time. Man, that stuff you do, I couldn't do that. Working that hard and making all those phone calls, get those loads. I can't do it. That's too much. Basically what they're saying, it's easier for them to go work for somebody and be told what to do. That's what's easy. I think they just be talking when they say that. They don't really understand what they're saying. It's like Christ said when they had him up there crucifying him, and he said, forgive them, Father. They know not what they do. And I'll say to that, forgive them, Father. They know not what they say. They don't know the consequences of their very words. They don't know. It's that simple. Do you realize that you're receiving your reward of every word that you utter out of your mouth? There's a saying in the church, power of life and death is in the tongue. And that is very true. The power of life and death is in your tongue. The power of success and failure is in your tongue, in the words you utter. Not just the words you utter, the words you think. Because the thinking of the words come before you actually speak it. You have to double down on it, meaning you have to contract with the word before you speak it, right? You think about it, hey, this is what I'm thinking, and you speak it. You think about it, then you decide to speak it. You create a contract with your consciousness. Oh, I accept what this is as the truth, and I'm going to speak it now so that I can solidify it and see that it comes forth. When you have problems, and they could be extreme, that is a great opportunity for you to really practice transcending that situation and work out not allowing it to bring you down consciously. That's the mission. That's the mission, to be able to navigate all of the challenges of this world that it may bring you and still be able to walk over it like Christ walked on water. Still be able to allow yourself to be sacrificed for the good of mankind. I'm not saying go allow people to nail you to a stake or anything like that. What I'm saying is spiritually, even though these people, you might feel from a fleshly level that they deserve condemnation, you cannot condemn. Because once you don't allow yourself to pass judgment on them for their wrongdoing, and you look at it as simply as, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. And honestly, so people are so indoctrinated into the opposer mindset, into the devil mindset, that what they do, although it may be wrong to some and most people, they really don't see it as wrong. They really can't see it because their mind is so clouded in that vibration that in that world they feel justified. You just so happen to be a casualty of their ignorance to their true divinity. Peace, what's up? Okay, checking my mic out. I gotta check everything before I start talking, because when I think it's right, it ain't right. But it looks right. Look like y'all can hear me out here. Can y'all? Y'all can hear me? Where's my chat at? Where's my chat? Indie Circle is there. Peace, my brother. Lake in Apo is peace to the gods and much light to all. And peace, Akeem, in chat. All right, y'all should be able to hear me pretty clearly. And let me put my shout out in the chat. All right. Says sounds good. Thank you, Mr. 8-Bowl. Am I pronouncing that right? You gotta correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to keep pronouncing it wrong. What did I title today's show? Who are you? Or the better question is, who am I? That's what you should be asking yourself. Who am I? Who am I? Am I Akeem? The name that my parents gave me? Akeem Barber? That's me. That's who I am, Akeem Barber. No, that's not who I am. That is the name that my parents gave me. I am not the name. That's the name I recognize. If you call me and say Akeem, I'm going to answer to that. But who am I? And I don't think I know the trick. That's a trickery. The names, when we're naming our children and our parents named us, that's part of the, do y'all realize that's all part of the Matrix too? These methods of identifying ourselves, think about it. That method that we have been using, naming ourselves, writing it down, and then they took that name and attached it to a birth certificate, attached it to a social security number, and it's been cursing us ever since. I'm not saying your name is bad, but the use, the method of how they went about naming us is the problem. Because if you read the Bible, God gave his people names. I'm going to call you this because of the acts, your loyalty. People were given names based on how they were born. It's good to be able to be identified by name, but the way it is used in this society, it can be a problem for us because we'll only think I am Akeem. And because I have put that in my mind that I am Akeem without really knowing what Akeem means, Well, I do know what my name means. Now, I have made a mental, conscientious connection between that name, and I've locked myself. I have put myself in a box. Well, my mom and them called me that, but who am I? Who are you? Well, I'll go first. I am the divine manifestation of God. So therefore, I am God made flesh. I always, I'm not trying to offend the religious mindsets, the indoctrinated mindsets of people by saying that I am God, that I am the God, I'm the creator. I'm not saying that. I am the God, I am the originator, I am the orchestrator of my divine space. Everything I'm seeing and experiencing is all coming from my thoughts and how I choose to react to situations. Hang on a second. My dogs are barking. Somebody's ringing my bell. Why are they ringing my bell? Give me a second. Oh, they walked away. Good. Good riddance. I don't know. Maybe they was delivering something. I don't know. Give me a second. I'm going to play some videos. I'll be right back. Let's see what's going on here. Play something good. Yeah, so I think the 24th, we're going to go visit Portugal because actually, with all of the things that we're thinking about actually purchasing property outside the country, even may not even live here anymore in the States. Shoot, they used to get a little shaky. Who knows? But that's what we're doing. But see, I'm saying that to say this, you could do the same thing. The only reason why you may not be doing these things because your consciousness not accepted the fact that you can do them. And that's why I'm talking about the economy of the mind, because how you're living, what you're doing, what you finding yourself doing on a daily basis, or how you're living is based off the economy of your mind. So ask yourself the question, and this is a direct question. So ask yourself a question. Just take time this minute right now. Look at your situation. I'm sure most people listening to me, the only reason why you're listening to me because you want something different. You want something better. You want to feel better about yourself. You want to feel better about your life. You want to feel better about your life. You want to feel better about work, whatever that is, right? So there's always room for improvement or being better. So look at your situation and look at how it is and ask yourself a question. My current situation, why is it this way? Now, if you're answering that question saying, well, because I have this bad job, because I can't do this, saying a bunch of I can'ts and blaming reasons outside of you, things outside of you, then you are looking in the wrong direction. And that's why this situation is the way it is. Because the first place you need to check is your thought process. How do I view money? What do I think is a lot of money? What do I believe to be a lot of money? All right, I'm back. So today's my daughter's birthday. She's just turning 18 and somebody delivered a cake here. That's what that was. Oh, Wells, I was talking about who am I? And I gave you a description of myself. So you have to choose what you want to call yourself. You want to choose to be described by what people decide to call you. And just on a side note, do you realize that there are probably thousands of versions of you out there that live in the minds of other people, what they're calling you, or what they think of you? Like, to some people, I'm a good guy. To some people, I'm not a good guy. Some people, I'm quiet. Some people say I talk too much. I'm sure there is many versions of me depending on how I showed up to that situation that people are saying who I am. But that's still not me. That was how I presented myself at the time. But you get to decide who you are. And have you consciously decided made a decision about who you're going to be? What your values are, how you're going to present yourself, how at any given time. What are your core values about yourself? Do you realize that most people don't have a core value about themselves? You know, big corporations have core values. They have it written down. These are our core values. This is what we represent. Why do they do that? Because they want to get business. So they want to have their core values written down that may align with potential customers or potential employees. Now, if a corporation is doing that, how come we don't do that for ourselves? What is my core values about myself? Who am I going to be? It brings me to this scripture, Matthew 18. And I talk about this in general, and I may have read this once or twice in the past. You'll understand once I start reading. Matthew chapter 18. It says, at the same time, let me do something here. Because I like the music in the background, but sometimes it disrupts my flow. All right, I'm going to turn it down a little bit. You guys might not hear it as loud as I do, but all right. It says, at the same time came the disciples unto Jesus, saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Jesus called the little child unto him and set him in the midst of them, and said, verily I say unto you, unless ye be converted. What does it say? It says, unless ye be converted and become as little children, you shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. I'm going to go to another version and see what that says. It says, in that hour came the disciples. This is American Standard Version. In that hour came the disciples unto Jesus, saying, who then is greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And he called to him a little child and set him in the midst of them, and said, verily I say unto you, except ye turn and become as a little child, you shall in no wise enter the kingdom of heaven. Let's read another version. The first version said converted. The American Standard Version said turn. Let's go to, let's do the Darby translation. In that hour, the disciples came to Jesus, saying, who then is greatest in the kingdom of heavens? And Jesus, having called a little child to him, set it in their midst, and said, verily I say to you, unless ye are converted. This one is saying converted. And what does converted mean? Let's not assume. What does converted mean? I don't like it. I know what it means. I'm sure you guys are. I know you guys are not. You know, y'all know what the word mean in general. It says of a building having been adapted to be suitable for a new purpose. So basically, transforming yourself into the mindset or the consciousness of a child. Why is that important? Why is you have to become like a child in order to enter into the kingdom of heaven? See, the Christ mind knew that by this time your mind was so polluted with misguided information. A lot of our identity is associated with someone else's idea of what we should be, like from a religious point of view. Most of it, I'm a Catholic, I'm a Baptist, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Hinduist. And most people who adopt these mindsets or have those mindsets only adopt these mindsets because it's a tradition in the family to be a Baptist, to be a Catholic, to be Protestant, to be Hindu, to be whatever. There's no real conscious decision other than, oh, my people did it, I'm gonna do it. There's no real studying and digging deep and accepting the doctrines or the teachings and saying this is it. Most people, and that's the psyop. Do y'all understand? Everything that we touch, feel, taste, and hear in this current system is planned out perfectly, and the results that it's getting is by design. So when we sit here and say that doesn't work, this doesn't work, no, it does work. It's getting the results. It's planned out. Everything is intricately planned out the way it's supposed to be, from the traditions of how you name yourself and your children, the holidays you participate in. Everything. You really believe that, some of us really believe that we have this great freedom. No. You're not free. You're slaves to the system of how things to be conventional. Mental slaves. And this is when Christ showed up. He was unlocking people's minds to let them see, well, you don't have to be indoctrinated with this. This is, they got upset with him about calling, himself God's son. And then he said, wait a minute, your law says y'all gods. I didn't write that law. Y'all wrote the law. Is it written in your law? But it says, become like these little children. So I love talking about this, and I know I'm repetitive about this because this is the key. You have to think, how do children operate? They operate out of looking for nothing but positive reinforcement, positive situations, positive associations. The only reason why children don't have positive connections is because the adults in their life have programmed them against it. And because out of respect for those adults, they are trying to live out a life that wasn't theirs. They put aside their God consciousness and adopted man's consciousness out of respect. And we use scriptures. Obey our parents, which is good. You need to obey and respect your parents. I don't agree with my parents on a lot of things, but I respect them. And how I respect them is not trying to enforce what I'm teaching right now on them. Because that lifestyle that they're living, they needed it at the time to save them. My dad was a drug dealer when I was born. For real. My mom was only 17 when I was born. So without that religion that they're associated with now, who knows how things would have turned out. So I'm thankful that they was associated with the Jehovah's Witnesses. And I'm thankful on a lot of levels because it helped me be able to do what I'm doing now. But see, like everything else, you have to have the mindset of a child. Do you realize in order to be able to move on and do other things and experience new things, you have to think like a child? Think about it. Children will be playing with this 1 minute and they're playing with that the next. That's the mindset of a child, looking for new adventures all the time, whether it be reading something or playing with something. But see, under this current structure, we are programmed to believe children are only able to comprehend things on certain levels based on their age. They gave us a program from the system. Children 0 to 5, they only need to be reading on this level. They even gave levels. He's a first grade, he's a second grade. All that stuff is bullshit. Because every now and then, a child will break free from those indoctrinated ideas and be reading on college levels, reading better than professors. That's why you have some children, they skip all that and they ended up, they come from elementary to college. Let me tell you something. Every child can do that. But what happens is the exposure of the child, not when they come out of the womb, is when they're in that womb. What that mother was exposing that child to, where she was, where she presented herself, the music. There's some of these geniuses, the mother was playing classical music all the time and reading to the child before. Not reading Mother Goose stories, reading highly intellectual books. So I remember there was a study, and it was trying to figure out what makes genius. So they followed all of these children, and when they, according to their standards and what they call genius, almost every child had genius consciousness from age 0 to like 5, right? Like in their early age, all of them had that potential, and they kept that potential until around, middle, till they got into elementary school. And then they followed them all the way till they got out of high school, and they realized over 90% lost that genius consciousness. So what happened in that time? It was indoctrinated away from their genius. Just like you was indoctrinated away from your true divinity. For us adults, our acceptance of our religious ideals have indoctrinated us into believing we're just sinners and wretched beings, and we need all of these things. We can never measure up. That we need this and we need that. And the Bible constantly tells you don't need nothing but the idea that everything is taken care of. What are you worried about tomorrow? Tomorrow's got troubles of his own. Take care today. You will be, don't I feed these? I know every hair on your head. Well, why wouldn't I be able to feed you? Why wouldn't you? Only reason, the idea of not having enough food is simply this. Because you believe the grocery stores is going to run out of food. Some man-made establishment that they created for you to go to buy your food. God didn't create that way. Because from what I read in Genesis, it was a garden, right? And the food was right there for them to go pick and eat. As they got hungry. Hey, go get that. He said, be fruitful and multiply, enjoy this garden. Then in our so-called, we're developed and more intelligent now, we create systems that make people dependent. And that's what we've done to our children. We made them dependent on these systems, just like we are. The system didn't indoctrinate them. We indoctrinated them into the system. They put it on remote. They got you programmed on. Well, I got to do the same thing for my kids. Yeah, I got to send them to this public school we know ain't really been working. And it's an old system. It was created way back when by a group of corporations who decided they needed more workers. And the only way to get more workers was to get a hold of their mind. They already had done the studies. And said, how do we fix this? They studied Hitler's method of getting young children to do heinous things against other people. How did he get them? He indoctrinated them to school. Put all the kids in one place and programmed them. Right? So you have to be converted back to where you were. That means basically what he's saying, you have to erase all of this indoctrination and start all over. And that's the truth. Because when I got a relationship, I said, man, I got to stop assuming I know. everything or know most things. I don't. I know some. I know a lot of things, but the amount of knowledge that I have is very small compared to what I need to more that I need to learn. If you're not making new revelations consistently, that means you're not being conscious of finding the truth for yourself. And this is why there's these feelings of loss. Because you're not looking in the right place for the truth. Looking for someone to tell you this and this thing to tell you instead of looking within yourself. The best answers you will ever get is from within you. Quiet down the ego. Quiet down all of the what do you call the self-created ego and what you call yourself. Quiet down, and you start hearing the truth. Now, one thing about the truth is it's the truth, but sometimes it'll sting a little. The only reason why it stings because it's healing things that are broken. It's healing. When things heal, they hurt at first. All right. Let's keep reading this. Whoever therefore shall humble himself as the little child, he is the greatest in the kingdom of the heavens. So as a child, you don't know everything. You have a lot to learn. But whoever shall receive one, such little child in my name receives me. But whoever shall offend one of these little ones who believe in me, it were profitable for him that a great millstone had been hanged upon his neck, and he be sunk in the depths of the sea. So the little children already know the truth. We know that. You ever look at a little baby, it seems like they have a knowing. You're like, what are they thinking? And they're looking you in the eye. I remember my daughter was a baby. Now that she's 18, when she was a baby, and there was times I used to just stare into her eyes and she just look at me. Like she had a knowing, like a wisdom was there. And I'm strongly believing that the actual verbal, the auditory voice is a distraction too. The talking. Because I'm convinced that children are communicating even without words, without speaking as we do. She just stare and just look. Like, I don't need anything. I got everything I need. I got my food, diaper change. Just look. And I'm like, what is she trying to communicate? And I've done that with all my children, my boys too, and they always just stare at you with a certain knowingness. Anybody who's have children have done that know what I'm talking about. It's like a knowingness, like they know something. And they're looking like, poor. They're looking at you like you need help. Like, you know what, poor, you don't understand. You lost your way. Anybody relate to that? What I just said can relate to that? Anybody in the chat can relate to that? What I just said about how you could just look at a child and it's like, man, this child knows something. My brother, I'm the oldest of 6, so I've changed my brothers and sisters' diapers, right? And when I used to hold them and look at them, and they just be looking when they were very young babies, from before they was even 1. Because once they get 1, and that's when they start trying to emulate what we're doing, starting to talk, starting to walk. But right between the 0 and that 9-month stage, you sit there and you look at the child, and they're looking at you, not with like what's going on, they look like they know what's going on and you don't. And they keep their eyes fixed on you. And when you do that, a certain peace comes over you. A certain it's hard to describe. People are sharing their experiences. Here it says, somebody said, absolutely, endlessly seeking truth leads to speaking it. See it in my grandchildren all the time. Yep, absolutely, beloved. Someone said, and then yes, I can talk with my grandkids while they was in the womb and after. Babies are conscious. People are short of comprehension. Right, they're conscious. Now, I might ruffle some feathers where I'm going next. And I was thinking about not talking about this, but it has to be said. You know, I can't run from it. If the spirit hit me to get in it, hey, I ain't justifying nothing I'm saying. If y'all like it, y'all like it. If y'all don't, you don't. Hey, no apologies here. But it's coming from the spirit. It says, I'm gonna go back to this. But whosoever shall offend one of these little ones who believe in me, it were profitable for him that a great millstone have been hanged upon his neck, and he be sunk in the depths of the sea. Woe to the world because of offenses, for it must needs be that offense come. Yet woe to that man by whom the offense comes. This may seem to be off topic, but it's on topic. Right now, I've seen ads talking about how a certain candidate, we're not going to talk about these candidates, is against abortions and women's rights and all this stuff. Now, if the Bible is saying that if you offend one of these children, it'd be better for you to put your millstone on your neck. And they ain't talking about just after they get out that womb. They're talking about while they're in the womb. In the womb. Also. Because what is once a child is, conceived and it has to develop into where I am right now. Right? So life begins right there. I don't care what nobody say. They can try to justify their craziness all they want. That life started the minute that egg and that man's sperm made connection. Boom, explosion, boom, and then it started to develop. And because people are not ready to have children, or they're in a bad situation and they're only thinking about themselves in certain situations, and they want to hey, we need to stop this. But I can tell you from my own personal experience. This is just my personal experience. This is why I said I might step on some toes. But hey, this is just what I've observed. I'm not saying it is fact. Women that I know that have had abortions tend to have trouble staying in relationships for the future. Making suitable connections. See, what I'm saying, you have to pay for your actions no matter what it is. Big, small, whatever you want to call it. I'm not calling one sin better than the other. What I'm saying, what we do, we're getting our repayment for it. And see, what happened is a lot of these decisions that's being made to terminate children is not, most of them are not based on some emergency, incest, rape, or something like that. Most of them are just made simply because the person wasn't ready to have a child at the time. Let's keep it real. Maybe saving face, embarrassment, whatever the decision, a life was terminated. And there's going to be a repayment for that. You have to pay for that. Oh, I know I'm getting deep. Because when I was studying this and I was looking at this, I said, man, this Bible's very clear. And this is where people get, well, you believe everything that Bible be saying? No, what I believe is what I believe a lot of this is allegory and it applies to us in some form. All of these religious texts was written for a reason, whether the stories are actual or not. They do apply. And they do make sense. We are offending children. A divine manifestation of God. We're destroying a God. Let's call it what it. We say we're destroying a baby, and see that's how they minimize and justify, because we say that's just a fetus. No, that is a divine manifestation of God that's in that womb, that we chose and used our power to destroy. Wow. Oh boy. I know some of y'all sisters may not like that. If you have made that decision, this is not a judgment. This is just something to start looking deep and start. This is how you discover who you are. Going back, it says, be like the child. You have to go back, rewind that back. Wait a minute, I made some, and maybe this is how I did. I always say every decision you made from the very beginning is why you're getting the results right now. See, we want to pick and choose. No, it was this and not that. And it's usually the dish you pick is this is something outside. It's somebody else's fault. It's that situation. It ain't me. Not the decision I made all them years ago. Not 20. We don't want to wake up to that reality. We all made decisions. That I know I made a lot of decisions. I look back, wait a minute. This is why I'm experiencing this now. There's some things I did 20, 30 years ago. And I'm like, whoa, where did this come from? Oh, it's time to learn that lesson, brother, from that decision you made back then. It's lesson time. Sit down, take notes. It's time to study. See, we're too busy studying things and people and other things, and we're not studying ourselves. Why am I going through this right now? Why am I in different relationships having issues? Where did this birth from? Maybe because we offended that child at some point. So it's like, you better, depths of the sea. It's coming for you. No, Akeem, he ain't talking about that. He's talking about, if they don't believe in Christ. Well, then you're right. Yeah, absolutely right. Because you just destroyed one of the Christ. You didn't believe in the Christ in that child. You didn't believe that the Christ was coming through that child, just like it came through you. Oh, see, your answer, if that's what you were thinking, you just solidified my statements. Because I always teach, Christ doesn't arrive until the Christ arrives in you, until you realize you are the Christ you're looking for. And when you hurt others and you do things, because here's the scripture right here. It says it right here. Let's go right here. And whosoever shall receive one such little child in my name receives me. So you have to receive these children in the name of the Christ. You have to receive yourself. Convert yourself back to a child in Christ. Man, I ain't even going to get to I was about to read this, man. What time is it? This here. Advanced imagination in the search. I done went on and started. Y'all could call it meddling in some people's decisions way back in. I've gotten on the brothers too. I've gotten on y'all for y'all thing and that. I've gotten on the brothers too. Man, doesn't exempt some of the sisters. And this is all in love to make you rethink things, start to see where, in order to unravel the truth about yourself, you got to go back and look at some things and decisions and wait a minute, this is how the hell I got here. This decision right here, that decision, every decision, you can't exempt them all. You can't scratch out something. Every decision that you made is giving you what you got today. The reason why your bank account is what it looks like today is because of decisions you made previously. A mindset, a particular mindset. And we must pay back. This system is about reproduction, reproducing, right? How do we eat, right? The food that grows on the tree must reproduce. And then it must fall back to the ground. And then it grows up and then you eat again. And you continue this cycle. We are a cycle. This is why in some of these communities, you know, in an impoverished community, keep producing the same results. Why? Because they have a poverty mindset, and poverty mindset produces more poverty mindsets. Right? And when I'm talking about poverty, I'm not really solely talking about money, because money is a tool to partly enhance your life. But the poverty mindset, the thought process of the person in consciousness has a poverty mindset. When you don't understand that you are the Christ and that Christ is coming through you, that's a poverty mindset, because everything else is lack. You have eliminated and exempt yourself from the divine class by accepting what man said you are, their interpretation, raw people's interpretation. For those of you who like to live up to other people's expectations, so you transform yourself into what they expect of you. And this is why some of these decisions was made. Because you will thinking about an expectation. You didn't want to be seen a certain way. You see? But if you were living in a divine mindset and you were taught your divine mindset, you may not even been in that situation in the first place. So that's why you must go back. That's why you must convert yourself into a child. And what do children do? All they look for is peace and play. They want to have a good time, enjoy themselves. Oh, you can have a gin time? Yes, you can. You can have a good time making a lot of money. You can work and have a good time while you're working. See, the adult mindset is to complain about lack. Children never think about lack. They're not worried about paying bills. They somehow know it's going to get taken care of. Know why? Because they see their parents and they were like, my parents got me. They ain't worried about tomorrow until we give them worry. And that's what God was saying. Why you? I got you. Children automatically know they're done. They're taken care of for the most part. They're not thinking about that. They come out and automatically know what to do. Let's go have a good time. Let's go experience each other in the most fun way. But as adults, we do it a period. Oh, we're gonna get together on this day. We plan out this time and that. Children just, hey man, I'm going out there. And guess what? Guess what children are always trying to do? Get away from the adults. I know when I was a kid, we wanted to get the hell out of the house and go out there and just stay out there. And the only time we want to go because we need to get some water or we need to go to the bathroom. You go in there too much, you better don't come back in here. Or you staying in the house. And we stayed our asses out there. Why? Because it was better out there than it was in there listening to them adults be depressed about the bills they had to pay. We ain't worried about, we ain't thinking about that blight getting paid. We gonna have us a good time. Right. But see, imagine having that mindset and understanding and understanding that you are the Christ, having that same mindset. How many powerful things you could do. See, we only played according to what we was taught. Did we do this game? We did this game. And then guess what? You run out of so many games out there playing, you start making up games. Well, won't we do? We start getting you have your highest creativity. And I'm only talking to those people who understood what being outside of the house was. That's all, because some of y'all don't know. Y'all live on the screen. Yeah, that's y'all. Some of y'all, are young and don't know what outside play is. And we sit there and we get creative. Well, we could do this and we do that. And then we got into little scuffles and arguments. We always resolved them without adults. No, we do this now. We fixed it. How many of y'all can relate to what I'm saying? How many? So what do we have to do? We have to get out and really experience what it's like to be a child. We have to convert our mindset spiritually into a child and open ourselves up to new information. Because what is a child? They're open to experience things and look at things in a optimistic, positive way. Learn. See, when you become too adult, like those religious leaders of the time of Christ, they thought they knew everything. We're the chosen ones, and we're gonna teach you. You got to come to us. You can't. I've been in churches where preachers and pastors have actually said you can't rely on your own thinking and this and that. You have to do this, and they use the scripture to justify that. When that scripture is really talking about relying on the power of God within you. Okay? Because nobody's gonna know the truth better about you other than you. There's I mean, I might have an idea based off my experience with you. But my experience is just one of many experiences you've had, different people. And that's one of the stumbling blocks that we allow people's experience with us to define us. We have to transcend that. All right, let's look at the comments. The high creator knew the formation of we before being placed in the womb of mother or seed of father, according to scriptures. Very powerful. Mills in the Making says, very powerful message. Future consciousness are inevitably shaped by present actions. Each day we should decide to go back to our childhood so we can create more, laugh more, and love more. That's powerful. So put that on the screen. Exactly. I love being me, says exactly. We have to convert. We have to go back, because this adult thinking is what the problem is why we're depressed. We got responsibilities. Yeah, we do have responsibilities. I'm not saying shake off your responsibilities. What I'm saying is rethink everything. Every decision you made, every experience you allowed yourself to go through is why you're here, why you're having these issues. All right. Now, what date is it? What date is it? Today is the 20th. Well, my daughter's birthday, but the date I was looking for, I'm doing that, I think it's the 28th. The 28th of October is when I'm doing that webinar on the driver's license, updating the responses, if you get pushback, how you should handle yourself. So, I sent out an email. I'll send out an email today. So if you're not on my email, let's go to akiemel.com and sign up so you can get the emails. And that's how you'll be able to join. But I could also put the link to the webinar. So you can, if you're not ready to get it now, driver's license webinar 3. Just save this link and for later. There you go. All right. All right. I think I was going to read this, but it's going to take me another hour. I'll save this for next week. I think I said what I needed to say for the day. And then, if some of y'all feel like I got a little personal, yeah, I may have, but it's something to think about. We can't think that we can't keep go on living and thinking that decisions that you made so many years ago is not affecting you today. Everything. So that means that's why you have basically, when it says you have to go and start over. Let's start over consciously. But I'm old. Yeah, maybe the body may look a little aged, but your mind you can change your mind to whatever you want it to be. You see? You can change your mind to whatever. You can change your mind and have a child life. That's why they sometimes try to deem people crazy because they think like children. See, society and their they want to highly medicate everybody and make something wrong with everybody. And just another thing, I was listening to a guy who talks about health, and he said he don't believe in diseases. What he believes in is the body healing itself. So when you have discomforts in your body, that's a form of how your body is healing itself. But what we do is we go get these medications and stop the healing process. It's reacting, the body is reacting to some deficiency or trying to compensate for something. See, man has, remember I talked about, they label stuff so that they can put a price on it. But everything that's happening with your body, whatever illness, it's a reaction to something that's needed in your body or something that needs to be eliminated from your body. And if you find out what that is, you correct that, then the body goes back to its original state. Think about that. See, we're like, oh, I got this, I got cancer, I got these. What, cancer is cancer is simply an immune response to a toxin in the body. So it creates all of these cells to surround that toxin to protect your body. But with the doctor, oh, it's an abnormal growth of cells. No, it's a normal growth of cells to protect you. That's why a lot of times people go get these biopsies and they end up with more cancer because they break open the thing and then it spreads. The growth, they break it open to test it, and then it pulls out the toxin. Now the body has to react to that and let me get this. This ain't right. Boom, boom, boom. Now you got everything on. And then they say that's cancer. When it's really the body's defense mechanism surrounding and protecting you from the inside. But when everything is created in this system and labeled, it's created for profit. Even your own name was created for profit. When you gave it to them people, name Akeem Barber, they gave it, oh, we're going to create this birth certificate. We're going to get it. Now he get a social, we could profit off him. We get 20, 30% of his check every time he get paid. You see? Everything man labels in this system is to make you a debtor. Everything God created under his system is for your abundance. Think about that. All right, with that being said, peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to everyone. You guys have a great rest of your day. Listen, our people, just because they've been to prison doesn't mean that's a death sentence for their career and their prosperity. Plenty of people get out and they continue to be prosperous. Anybody can prosper if they put their mind to it. You don't have to have bad things can happen to you, but you can still pick yourself up and do good for yourself.